Hyunwoo did not heal. The cubs hoped he would, but as the days passed, he only got worse. He tried to hide it. He smiled when they were watching. He told them stories in a voice that grew weaker each day. But they could see the truth. His skin was gray now. His breathing came in short, painful gasps. He could not stand without help. The medical scanner showed numbers that kept dropping. The cubs did not understand all the readings, but they knew red meant bad, and there was so much red. On the 5th day after the fight, Hyunwoo could not get out of bed. His body simply would not move. Pik brought him water, holding the cup carefully so it would not spill. Hyunwoo drank a little and smiled. "Thank you," he whispered. "You need to eat," Neri said. She had brought food, but Hyunwoo just looked at it. "Not hungry," he said. "But you told us we must eat to be strong. You must eat too." "I will, later. I just need to rest first." Ven sat on the bed next to him. She had not left his side since the fight. She held his hand constantly, as if she could keep him there by not letting go. Sometimes she purred softly. Sometimes she just watched his face. The ship's computer kept them moving toward Kepler's rest. 7 days away, then 6, then 5. The colony was getting closer, but it felt like it was moving too slowly. Other cubs came to visit. They brought Hyunwoo small gifts, pictures they had drawn, smooth stones they had found on the ship, stories they had written. They wanted to make him feel better. They wanted to give back even a small piece of what he had given them. Hyunwoo looked at each gift carefully. He thanked each cub. He told them their drawings were beautiful, their stones were perfect, their stories were wonderful. He smiled until they left. Then the smile would fade and the pain would show on his face again. At night, when most cubs were sleeping, Hyunwoo made his final recordings. His voice was so weak that the computer could barely hear him. "Daun," he said, "I do not think I will make it to the end. My body is giving up. But the cubs will be safe. That is what matters." He paused to catch his breath. "I wish you could meet them. You would love them. Especially Ven, she reminds me of you. Quiet and kind and so very strong." He stopped recording and closed his eyes. Every breath hurt now. His chest felt like something heavy was sitting on it. The ship's medical database said his lungs were filling with fluid. One had already collapsed. The other was failing. He had 4 days until they reached Kepler's rest. The medical computer calculated he had less than 2 days of life left. On the morning of the 3rd day before arrival, something changed. Hyunwoo woke up and felt different. The pain was less. His mind was clearer. He knew what this meant. It was not healing. It was his body's final burst of energy before the end. A last gift before shutting down. He called the cubs to him, all of them. They filled the room, small bodies pressed together, eyes wide and worried. Hyunwoo looked at them and felt his heart break. These children deserved so much more than this. They deserved happiness and safety and long lives. He hoped they would have those things. "I want to show you something," he said. His voice was steadier than it had been in days. "Come with me." The cubs helped him stand. They supported his weight, dozens of small bodies working together to hold up one human. Slowly, they made their way to the observation deck. Hyunwoo had not been there in weeks. He had forgotten how beautiful space could be. He had them arrange cushions on the floor. Then he sat down, his back against the wall. The cubs settled around him, some on his lap, some against his legs, some just nearby. Ven pressed herself against his side, purring quietly. "Look," Hyunwoo said, pointing at the window. "Do you see that light? The blue one? That is Kepler's rest." The cubs stared. It did not look like much yet, just a bright point in the darkness. But it was growing. In 3 days it would fill the window. It would be a world. Their new home. "You are going to love it there," Hyunwoo said. His voice was soft, dreamy. "The sky is blue like Earth's. There are trees and grass. Real dirt under your feet, not metal floors. You can run and play. You can be children again. Not refugees. Not scared. Just children. Will you show us?" Pik asked. Hyunwoo was quiet for a moment. "I need to rest," he said finally. "I am very tired. The kind of tired that sleep does not fix right away." "Then rest," Neri said. "We will wait. We are good at waiting." "I know you are," Hyunwoo said. He pulled out his last rations, sweet bars he had been saving for something special. He broke them into pieces and gave one to each cub. "These are from Earth. They are very good." The cubs ate slowly, savoring the taste. Some had never had anything sweet before. Their eyes lit up with delight. Hyunwoo watched them and smiled. This was good. This was how he wanted to remember them. Happy. Safe. Together. Tell us a story, one of the younger cubs asked. One more story, so Hyunwoo told them a story. It was about a garden. A magical garden where plants grew that could grant wishes. But the garden needed someone to care for it, to water it and protect it. The gardener in the story worked hard every day. He was old and tired, but he kept working because he knew the garden would feed many people. When he finally rested, the garden was beautiful and full of life. Did the gardener wake up? A cub asked. He rested under the trees he had planted, Hyunwoo said, and the garden grew around him. And everyone who came to the garden remembered him. They told stories about him, about how he gave everything to make sure others could live. The cubs were quiet thinking about this. I need to rest now, Hyunwoo said. He leaned back against the cushions. The window above showed stars. Thousands of them. Billions. In the distance, that blue light grew brighter, just for a little while. The ship knows where to go. You will be there soon. How long will you rest? Neri asked. There was something in her voice. Something that said she understood more than she wanted to. Hyunwoo looked at her. This clever cub. I will rest until you are safe, he said. Until I know you are all going to be okay. Then I will wake up. It was not quite a lie. He would not wake up, but he would know they were safe. He would know that when he closed his eyes for the last time. The cubs curled up around him. This had become their habit over the past weeks. They felt safe near him, protected, loved. Hyunwoo put his arms around as many as he could reach. He felt their warmth, their soft fur, their small bodies rising and falling with each breath. Pick was on his right, the brave one. He had his face buried in Hyunwoo's side. You look peaceful, he whispered. Like you were having good dreams. I am, Hyunwoo said. And it was true. He felt peaceful. The pain was fading now. Everything was fading. But he could still feel the cubs against him. Could still see the blue light of Kepler's rest in the window. Could still hear their soft breathing and gentle purrs. Humans always look peaceful when they rest, Neri said. But her voice shook, she knew. She might not understand all of it, but she knew. Ven did not speak. She just pressed herself closer and held his hand tighter, as if she could keep him there by force of will alone. Hyunwoo's breathing slowed. Each breath came further apart. He looked at the cubs one last time. These beautiful children who had lost everything. Who had trusted him. Who had given him a purpose when he had nothing left to live for. You are going to have such wonderful lives, he whispered. Be happy, be kind. Remember to help others. And remember that someone thought you were worth saving. His eyes grew heavy. The blue light in the window seemed brighter now. Closer. He could almost see it clearly. A blue-green world with white clouds. Trees and grass and open sky. The cubs would love it there. They would run and play and grow up strong. He felt himself drifting. Not like floating in space, more like sinking into something soft and warm. The cubs' purring seemed louder. Or maybe everything else was getting quieter. He was not sure. Thank you, he said, or tried to say. He was not sure if the words came out. Thank you for letting me help you. Thank you for giving me a reason. His chest rose one more time, then fell. The smile on his face never faded, even as his eyes closed, even as his breathing stopped. He looked exactly as Pick had said, peaceful, like he was having good dreams. The cubs stayed curled around him. They did not understand yet, not fully. They thought he was resting. They thought he would wake up when they reached Kepler's rest. They could see his face calm and smiling. They could feel his warmth, though it was fading. Above them, through the window, Kepler's rest grew brighter. The ship's autopilot carried them forward. 3 days left, then 2, then 1. The cubs waited. They kept the observation deck clean and quiet so Hyunwoo could rest. They whispered when they talked. They brought him flowers from the ship's small garden, laying them gently around him. He will wake up soon, Pick said, but his voice was uncertain now. He will wake up when we are safe, Neri said, repeating Hyunwoo's words. He promised. Ven just held his hand and cried silently. The blue light filled the window. They were almost there. Almost home. The cubs looked at Hyunwoo's peaceful face and waited for him to open his eyes, but he never did. The alarm woke Hyunwoo from a restless sleep. He was on his ship's bridge, where he had fallen asleep at the controls again. The screen showed 3 vessels approaching fast. His tired mind took a moment to understand what he was seeing. Pirates. The ships were small and fast, marked with symbols Hyunwoo recognized. The Kreth Syndicate. They were scavengers who attacked weak targets, and right now, 2 damaged ships moving slowly through space looked very weak indeed. Hyunwoo's hands moved over the controls. He tried to activate his weapons. Nothing. He had rerouted all that power to the engines weeks ago. He tried the shields. Also nothing. He tried to speed up, but the gentle dawn was too heavy. They could not outrun anyone. His radio crackled. A rough voice spoke in standard language. "Cargo ship. We see you are pulling something big. Disconnect and leave. We will take it. If you run now, we will let you go." Hyunwoo grabbed the radio. "There are children on that ship, refugees. They have nothing worth taking." The voice laughed. "The ship itself is worth taking. And children sell well on some stations. Disconnect now or we will destroy you both." Rage burned in Hyunwoo's chest. He looked at the screen. The pirate ships were getting closer. In minutes, they would be in weapons range. He had no way to fight them. No way to run. If he disconnected from the gentle dawn to save himself, the refugee ship would lose life support. The cubs would die in hours. He looked at the cables connecting the 2 ships. Then he looked at his old combat suit hanging in the corner. He had worn it years ago during the border wars. It was outdated now. The armor was thin. The weapons were old. But it still worked. Hyunwoo made his decision. He set his ship's computer to automatic mode. It would keep pulling the gentle dawn toward Kepler's rest no matter what happened. Then he started putting on the combat suit. His body protested every movement. His muscles ached. His lungs burned. But he forced himself to keep going. The suit was heavy. He had lost weight and it fit loosely now. But it would have to do. Pick appeared in the doorway. The cub's eyes went wide. "What are you doing?" "There are bad people coming," Hyunwoo said calmly. "I need to stop them. But you cannot fight them alone." "I am not fighting them," Hyunwoo said. He smiled, though it took effort. "I am just making sure they leave us alone." Big difference. More cubs appeared. Neri pushed through to the front. "You are going outside?" "In space?" "Yes. That is dangerous." "A little bit," Hyunwoo admitted. "But I have done it before. I will be fine." Ven was there too. She held onto the doorframe, her eyes huge with fear. She did not speak, but her whole body shook. Hyunwoo knelt down, which made his vision swim. He looked at the 3 cubs who had become like family to him. "Listen to me. No matter what happens, my ship will keep moving. It will take you to Kepler's rest. You will be safe. Do you understand?" "We want you to be safe too," Pick said. His voice broke. "I will try my best," Hyunwoo said. "But if something happens to me, remember this. You are strong. You are brave. You will survive, and you will have wonderful lives." He touched each of their heads gently. "Make those lives count. Be kind. Help others. That is how you thank me." He stood up, his legs shaking. Then he walked to the airlock. The cubs followed him, crying now. Other cubs had heard the commotion and were coming to see what was happening. Soon dozens of small faces watched him. "Stay inside," Hyunwoo said. "Lock the door after I leave. Do not open it for anyone except me." He stepped into the airlock. The last thing he saw before the door closed was Ven's face, tears running through her fur. The airlock opened to space. Hyunwoo activated his suit's thrusters and flew toward the approaching pirate ships. His suit's computer gave him information. 3 ships. 15 pirates total, all armed, all experienced fighters. He was one man in an old suit with weapons that barely worked. But he had one advantage. He had nothing left to lose. The first pirate ship opened fire when he got close. Hyunwoo dodged, his body screaming at the sudden movement. He fired back with his suit's small gun. The shot hit the ship's engine. Not enough to destroy it, but enough to make it slower. 2 pirates in combat suits came out to meet him. They thought this would be easy. One old human in outdated armor. They were wrong. Hyunwoo fought like someone who had accepted death. He moved fast, ignoring the pain. He used every trick he had learned in the wars. He targeted weak points in their suits. He used pieces of debris as weapons and shields. When his gun ran out of ammunition, he used the suit's tools as blades. He destroyed one pirate's suit, sending the man spinning away into space. The other pirate retreated, calling for help. More pirates came. Hyunwoo kept fighting. He could not win. He knew that, but he could buy time. Every minute he kept them busy was another minute the cubs got farther away. A laser hit his suit's right arm. Pain exploded through him. His arm went numb. He kept fighting with his left, another hit, this one to his leg. He could not feel it anymore. The suit system showed red warnings everywhere. Life support failing, armor breached, oxygen leaking. The pirates were getting smarter now. They surrounded him. 5 of them, all firing at once. Hyunwoo's suit sparked and died. The thrusters stopped working. He floated helplessly in space. The pirate leader's voice came over the radio. "Enough, you fought well, human. But it is over. We will take the refugee ship now." "No," Hyunwoo said. His voice was weak. "You will not. You cannot stop us, maybe not. But I can slow you down long enough." Hyunwoo looked at his suit's display. The Gentle Dawn was far enough away now. His ship's autopilot would keep pulling it. In the time it would take the pirates to catch up, they would enter the patrol range of Kepler's Rest. The colony's defense ships would respond. The pirates had lost their window. The leader cursed. "You stupid human. You threw away your life for aliens, for creatures that are not even your species." "They are children," Hyunwoo said simply. "That is all that matters." The pirates argued among themselves. Finally, the leader spoke again. "We are leaving, but you will die out here. Your suit is destroyed. You have minutes of air left." "I know," Hyunwoo said. The pirate ships turned and flew away. They were gone within minutes, vanishing back into deep space. Hyunwoo was alone. His suit barely functioned. He could not move. His oxygen gauge showed red. He had maybe 5 minutes of air remaining. He used his working hand to activate his thrusters one last time. They sputtered and sparked, but gave him just enough push to start drifting back toward his ship. It would take too long. He would run out of air before he got there. But he tried anyway. His vision started to go dark. His lungs burned for air that was not there. He kept his eyes on his ship in the distance, kept moving his hand, trying to make the damaged thrusters work. He thought about Da-un, about how he would see her soon. She would ask what took him so long. He would tell her about the cubs, about keeping them safe. She would understand. She always understood. Something grabbed him. Hyunwoo's fading mind could not process it at first. Then he realized. Cables. The cubs had extended the cargo cables from his ship. They had pulled them out into space and used them to catch him. Now they were pulling him back. He wanted to tell them to leave him, to save their strength. But he had no air left to speak. His radio was dead. They pulled him into the airlock. Small hands and thick gloves dragged his suit inside. The door closed. Air filled the chamber. Hyunwoo heard it hissing but could not feel it. His body was shutting down. The cubs opened his helmet. Fresh air rushed in. Hyunwoo gasped, his lungs trying to remember how to breathe. Slowly, painfully, his vision cleared. He was surrounded by cubs, dozens of them. They had all worked together to save him. Pick was at the front, his small body shaking with effort. Neri was crying while checking the suit's damage. Ven held Hyunwoo's hand tightly. "You came back," Pick said. "You came back to us." Hyunwoo tried to smile. It hurt, everything hurt. The medical scanner next to him showed terrible things. Internal injuries. Collapsed lung. Massive oxygen deprivation damage. His body had been pushed far beyond its limits. "Just a few scratches," he whispered. "Humans heal fast." But he could see in their eyes that they knew he was lying. The cubs were young, but they were not stupid. Neri looked at the medical display. She could not read all the symbols, but she understood enough. "You are badly hurt. I will rest," Hyunwoo said. "I just need to rest." They helped him out of the suit and onto a bed. Every movement sent new pain through his body. But he was alive. Against all odds, he was still alive. The cubs stayed with him. They brought him water and food, though he could barely eat. They covered him with blankets. They sat nearby, watching him with worried eyes. Hyunwoo looked at the navigation display. 8 days to Kepler's Rest, just 8 more days. He closed his eyes. He would rest. He would heal. He would make it. He had to make it. The cubs needed him. 5 days passed. 5 long days of moving slowly through empty space. The Gentle Dawn stayed connected to Hyunwoo's small cargo ship, following behind like a child holding a parent's hand. On the Tillith ship, things were changing. The adults were dying one by one. Their bodies could not fight the radiation sickness. Each day, Hyunwoo helped carry another body to the storage bay. The cubs did not understand death yet. They asked when the adults would wake up. Hyunwoo did not have good answers. By the 6th day, only Elder Sima remained alive. She was too weak to stand. Hyunwoo sat with her while the cubs slept. "You must care for them now," she whispered. "Teach them. Protect them." "I will," Hyunwoo promised. The small one, Ven. "She has not spoken since her mother died. Be patient with her." Sima's breathing was very shallow now. Pick tries to be strong for the others. He needs to know it is okay to be scared. And Neri, she asks so many questions. Answer them. She learns fast. "I will remember," Hyunwoo said. Sima closed her eyes. "You are a good person, Hyunwoo. May your gods watch over you." She died before morning. Hyunwoo was now the only adult on 2 ships carrying 347 cubs. He did not panic. He could not afford to panic. Instead, he gathered the cubs and explained in simple words. The adults were gone, but he was here. He would take care of them until they reached safety. Some cubs cried. Others were silent. Pick stood at the front, his small body stiff. "We trust you," he said loudly. "You saved us. You will keep saving us." The other cubs nodded. They believed him. Hyunwoo felt the weight of that trust settle on his shoulders. The days fell into a routine. Hyunwoo woke early, checked the systems, made sure both ships were working. Then he went to the gentle dawn and fed the cubs. The food supplies were running low, but he rationed carefully. He gave the cubs larger portions. He ate less. In the afternoons, he told them stories. Human stories. Fairy tales his grandmother had told him. Adventures about brave heroes and magical creatures. The cubs loved stories. They gathered around him, sitting on his lap, leaning against his legs. Their fur was soft and warm. Pick always sat at the front. He asked questions about the stories. Was the hero afraid? He would ask. Yes, Hyunwoo would say. But he did the right thing anyway. That is what makes someone brave. Not the lack of fear, but acting despite it. Neri asked different questions. She wanted to know about Earth, about human cities, about how humans lived. "Do you have cubs?" she asked once. Hyunwoo was quiet for a moment. "I had a daughter," he said finally. "Her name was Daun. She died when she was 7. Like us?" Neri asked softly. "Yes, like you." "Is that why you save us?" Hyunwoo looked at her. This small creature with big eyes and quick mind. "Maybe," he said honestly. "Maybe I could not save her, so I need to save you." Ven never asked questions. She just stayed close. Wherever Hyunwoo went, she followed a few steps behind. When he sat down, she sat next to him. When he worked on repairs, she handed him tools without being asked. She never spoke, but her eyes said everything. The cubs began to notice things about Hyunwoo, small things at first. He looked tired. His skin was paler than before. He moved slower. When he thought they were not watching, he leaned against walls to catch his breath. "Why do you not eat more?" Neri asked one day. "I am not hungry," Hyunwoo said, "but you gave us your food yesterday, and the day before. Cubs need to eat more than adults." "I am fine," but he was not fine. The life support on his ship was barely functioning. The air was thin. Each breath was harder than the last. His body was using up its reserves, burning through everything just to keep moving. At night, when the cubs slept, Hyunwoo recorded messages. He spoke to his ship's computer, knowing the recordings would be found later. "Daun," he said to the empty air. "I met some children today. Well, I met them days ago, but I really got to know them today. They remind me of you. Curious and brave and afraid all at once," and he paused. "I think you would like them. I think you would want me to help them." He recorded many messages like this, talking to his dead daughter, telling her about Pick's bravery, Neri's questions, Ven's silent companionship. It helped him stay focused, gave him a reason to keep going when his body screamed at him to stop. On the 10th day, something changed. Hyunwoo was working on a repair when his vision went dark. He grabbed a railing to stop from falling. When his sight returned, 3 cubs were staring at him with worried eyes. "Are you sick?" Pick asked. "No, just tired." "You look wrong," Neri said. She pointed at his face. "Your color is different, and you breathe loud." Hyunwoo forced a smile. "Humans are built tough. We look worse than we feel." It was another lie. He felt terrible. His chest hurt with every breath. His muscles ached constantly. He was cold all the time, even though he wore extra layers. But he kept working, kept feeding the cubs, kept telling stories, kept moving the ships forward. On the 12th day, Ven did something unexpected. She brought him a blanket and put it over his shoulders while he sat at the controls. Then she climbed into his lap and curled up. She still did not speak, but she purred softly, a sound of comfort. Hyunwoo wrapped his arms around her gently. "Thank you," he whispered. She looked up at him with those big eyes. Then she did something she had not done since her mother died. She spoke. "Stay," she said. Just one word. But it meant everything. "I will stay as long as I can," Hyunwoo promised. The cubs started doing small things to help him. Pick organized the other cubs, keeping them calm when Hyunwoo needed to work. Neri learned how to check the food supplies and made sure everyone ate. Ven stayed close, a silent comfort. They were taking care of him in their own way. These small creatures who had lost everything were trying to protect the human who had saved them. On the 14th day, Hyunwoo checked their position. They were halfway to Kepler's rest, halfway to safety. If everything went perfectly, they would make it, but space was not perfect. And Hyunwoo's body was failing faster than he had expected. He had hoped to last until they reached the colony. Now he was not sure he would make it. He recorded another message that night. "Dawn, I'm very tired, the kind of tired that sleep does not fix. But the cubs are doing well. They are strong. They will survive." He paused. "I think I did something good this time. I think I helped in a way that matters." Pick found him asleep at the controls the next morning. The cub tried to wake him, but Hyunwoo did not respond immediately. When he finally opened his eyes, Pick's face was very close to his. "You scared me," Pick said. "Sorry," Hyunwoo said. His voice was rough. "I just needed to rest my eyes, but it was more than that." His body was shutting down piece by piece. The lack of oxygen, the lack of food, the cold, it was all catching up to him. He had 9 days left, 9 days to get the cubs to safety. He would hold on. He had to. The cubs stayed closer after that. They seemed to sense something was wrong. Even the youngest ones were quieter. They watched Hyunwoo with worried eyes. "We are almost there," Hyunwoo told them, even though almost was still far away. "Just a little longer. Then you will have a real home, real sky, real dirt under your feet. Will you be there with us?" Neri asked. Hyunwoo smiled. "I will make sure you get there. That is my promise." It was not quite an answer, but the cubs accepted it. They trusted him, and Hyunwoo would do everything in his power to prove that trust was not misplaced. The old cargo ship moved slowly through the dark space. Inside, Hyunwoo sat at the controls watching the screens. He was alone as he had been for 3 years now. The ship was small, barely big enough for one person, but it was his home. He made his living by finding broken satellites and old equipment floating in space, then selling them to stations that needed spare parts. The radio crackled. At first, Hyunwoo thought it was just static. Then he heard it again. A voice, weak and desperate. Someone was calling for help. He changed course immediately. His fingers moved quickly over the controls, following the signal. It took him 6 hours to find the source. When he finally saw it on his screen, his breath caught in his throat. The ship was massive, 10 times bigger than anything he had ever seen up close. It looked old and damaged. Parts of it were black from fire. Other parts had holes torn through the metal. The ship drifted without power, tumbling slowly in the darkness. Hyunwoo connected his ship to the larger vessel and opened the airlock. The smell hit him first. Smoke and something else. Something wrong. He pulled on his breathing mask and walked inside. The corridors were dark. His flashlight showed walls covered in burn marks. Emergency lights flickered, barely working. He followed the sounds. Crying. Many voices crying together. He found them in the lower deck. Small creatures no bigger than cats covered in soft fur. Their eyes were huge and filled with tears. There were hundreds of them. Children. Cubs. They huddled together in groups, shaking with fear. An adult stood near them. She was taller than the cubs, but still small compared to Hyunwoo. Her fur was gray and she looked very sick. When she saw him, she tried to stand up straight. "Human?" she asked. Her voice was weak. "Yes," Hyunwoo said. He knelt down so he would not seem so big and scary. "I heard your call. What happened?" The adult's name was Elder Sima. She told him about her people, the Tillith. Their son had died suddenly. It collapsed and exploded. They escaped on this ship, the Gentle Dawn, but the explosion released deadly radiation. The adults who saved the cubs were dying from it. They had been trying to reach a colony called Kepler's Rest, but their engines failed. "How many adults are left?" Hyunwoo asked. 12, Seema said. We will not last long. Days, maybe. But the cubs, they are not sick. They were protected in the center of the ship. She looked at him with desperate eyes. Please, the cubs need to reach safety. We have no power left. No weapons. No way to move. Hyunwoo looked at the children. They stared back at him with wide, frightened eyes. Some were very small. Babies, really. Others were older, maybe 5 or 6 in human years. All of them looked terrified. He thought about Da-un, his daughter. She had been 7 when she died. A sickness on the colony where they lived. He had not been able to save her. He had held her hand and watched her slip away, and there was nothing he could do. He stood up. How far to Kepler's Rest? 3 weeks, Seema said. But we cannot move. Our engines are dead. My ship can tow you, Hyunwoo said. Seema blinked. Your ship is too small. The power needed to pull us would... I can do it, Hyunwoo said firmly. I will reroute everything. Life support, weapons, shields. Everything goes to the engines. I will pull you there. But you will have no protection, Seema said. No defense if pirates come. And your life support will be fine, Hyunwoo lied. Humans are tough. We do not need much, that was not true. But he had made his decision. These children would not die if he could help it. He spent the next 12 hours connecting his ship to the gentle dawn. He ran cables through his cargo bay. He rerouted every system he had. When he was done, his own ship was barely habitable. The air would be thin. The temperature would drop. But it would work. The cubs watched him work. They whispered to each other in their language. Some of them brought him things. A cup of water. A piece of fabric to wipe his hands. Small gifts from children who had nothing left. One cub, a male with brown fur, approached him. Are you strong? The cub asked in broken standard language. Hyunwoo smiled. Strong enough. What is your name? Hyunwoo. The cub thought about this. I am Pick. Will you really save us? Hyunwoo looked at the small creature. Pick was trying to be brave, but his voice shook. Yes, Hyunwoo said. I promise. Another cub came over. This one was female with lighter fur. Why? She asked. We are not your people. Why do you help us? Her name was Neri. She was curious, even in the middle of fear. Hyunwoo liked that. Because you are children, he said simply. Children should not die scared and alone. A third cub, the smallest, did not speak. She just watched him with enormous eyes. Her name was Ven. She stayed close to the others but never said a word. When everything was ready, Hyunwoo activated the tow. His ship groaned under the strain. Warning lights flashed on every panel. The computer told him that this was dangerous, that the ship was not designed for this, that he should stop. He ignored it all. The engines roared to life. Slowly, very slowly, the two ships began to move together. Elder Seema found him on the bridge. She looked even worse than before. You are sacrificing so much, she said. Why? Hyunwoo did not look at her. He kept his eyes on the controls. In the colony where I lived, there was a saying, the adults plant trees they will never sit under. It means we do things for the next generation. We give them what we never had. He paused. These cubs deserve a future. Seema was quiet for a long moment. Then she said, humans are strange creatures. The galaxy does not understand you. You are traitors and fighters, stubborn and difficult. But this kindness. She struggled to find words. Thank you. Do not thank me yet, Hyunwoo said. We have 3 weeks to go. A lot can happen in 3 weeks. He was right about that. But he did not tell Seema what he already knew. The strain on his ship was worse than he had said. And the life support he had given the cubs meant his own air would run out long before they reached safety. But that was fine. He had made his choice. These children would live. That was all that mattered. The two ships moved through the dark, connected by cables and pulled by the will of one stubborn human who refused to let innocents die. The docking alarm woke the cubs. They had been sleeping in the observation deck, curled around Hyunwoo. For a moment they were confused. Then they heard the automated voice of the ship's computer announcing arrival at Kepler's Rest. Pick jumped up. We are here. Hyunwoo, we are here. But Hyunwoo did not move. He lay against the cushions, his eyes closed, that peaceful smile still on his face. The cubs shook him gently. Then harder. He did not wake up. He is still resting, Neri said, but her voice was small and scared. Ben touched Hyunwoo's hand. It was cold. She made a sound like a whimper. Outside they heard noises, new voices. The docking crews of Kepler's Rest were connecting to their ships. Soon there were footsteps. Then the door opened and strangers entered, humans in uniforms. They stopped when they saw the cubs gathered around a body. One human knelt down. She was a woman with kind eyes. She looked at Hyunwoo, then at the cubs. She checked for a pulse she knew she would not find. "How long has he been like this?" she asked gently. 3 days, Pick said. "He is resting." "He said he would rest until we were safe. We are safe now. Why does he not wake up?" The woman's eyes filled with tears. She looked at the cubs, these small children who did not understand. She opened her mouth to explain, then closed it. "How do you tell children that the person who saved them is dead?" "My name is Bora," she said instead. "I work at the sanctuary here. We help refugees. You are all going to come with me now. We will take care of you." "But Hyunwoo," Neri said. "He needs to come too. He needs to see the blue sky. He promised to show us." Bora looked at Hyunwoo's peaceful face. The man had died smiling, surrounded by the children he saved. It was the saddest and most beautiful thing she had ever seen. "Hyunwoo will be taken care of," she said. "I promise. But right now you all need to come with me." The cubs did not want to leave, but Bora was gentle and patient. She explained that Hyunwoo would be moved somewhere safe, that they could visit him later. Slowly, reluctantly, the cubs agreed to go. Ven was the last to leave. She held Hyunwoo's hand until Bora gently pulled her away. The small cub cried without making a sound. The sanctuary was a large building with gardens and play areas. It was designed for children of different species. There were soft beds and warm meals and caregivers who spoke many languages. The cubs were given rooms and food and medical checkups. They were safe. They were warm. They were cared for, but they kept asking about Hyunwoo. On the second day, Bora gathered Pick, Neri, and Ven, the three who had been closest to the human. She took them to a quiet room with comfortable chairs and soft lighting. "I need to talk to you about Hyunwoo," she said. The three cubs sat close together. They knew. Somewhere deep inside they already knew. But knowing and accepting are different things. Bora took a deep breath. When people get very badly hurt or very sick, sometimes their bodies stop working. They do not wake up anymore. They do not breathe. Their hearts stop beating. This is called death. "Like the adults on our ship," Pick said quietly. "Yes. Like them." Neri's voice was very small. "Hyunwoo is dead?" "Yes," Bora said gently. "He died 3 days ago in the observation deck with all of you around him." The cubs were silent. Then Pick made a sound like a sob. His whole body shook. "No," he said he would rest. "He said he would wake up when we were safe." "He wanted you to feel safe," Bora said. "He did not want you to be scared. So he told you he was just resting." "He lied?" Neri's voice was full of hurt and confusion. "No, not really." Bora struggled to explain. "He knew he was dying. But he wanted his last moments with you to be peaceful. He wanted you to feel safe and loved. So he called it rest instead of death." Ven finally spoke. Her voice was barely a whisper. "He knew?" "Yes, he knew. But why?" Pick cried. "Why did he die? Why could we not save him?" Bora pulled up screens showing Hyunwoo's ship logs, his medical records, the data from his suit after the fight with the pirates. "Let me show you something," she said. She showed them how Hyunwoo had rerouted all his ship's power, how he gave them his food, his air, his warmth, how he had pushed his body beyond its limits to protect them, how the fight with the pirates had destroyed what was left. "He was dying slowly for weeks," Bora explained. "Every choice he made every day, he chose your lives over his own. He could have disconnected from your ship. He could have saved himself. But he would not let you die." The cubs stared at the data. Even with their limited understanding, they could see it clearly. Every decision Hyunwoo made had brought him closer to death, and he had made those decisions knowing it. "But why?" Neri asked again. "We are not humans. We are not his family. Why would he die for us?" Bora smiled sadly. "Let me tell you about Daun." She showed them the recordings Hyunwoo had made. All of them. The cubs listened to his voice talking about them, about how Pick reminded him of courage, how Neri's questions made him think, how Ven's silence spoke volumes. They heard him talk to his dead daughter, explaining why he had to help them. "He lost his child," Bora said. "He could not save her, but he could save you, and for him that meant something. It gave his life purpose." It made his death meaningful. That is not fair, Pix said angrily. He should not have had to die. We did not ask for this. No, you did not, Bora agreed. But Hyunwoo chose it anyway. That is what some humans do. When we see children suffering, we cannot help ourselves. We try to protect them. Even if it cost us everything, Ven was crying hard now. I held his hand. I felt him get cold. I knew something was wrong. But he smiled. He smiled and said it was fine. Because he wanted you to be happy, Bora said. He wanted his last moments to be good ones. Surrounded by the children he saved. Knowing you were almost home, that is why he looked so peaceful. He was content. He had done what he set out to do. The cubs sat in silence for a long time. Processing. Understanding. Grieving. Finally, Neri spoke. What happens now? Now you live, Bora said. You grow up. You have the lives he gave you. That is how you honor him. By living well. By being happy. By helping others when you can. By becoming the people he believed you could be. The sanctuary held a ceremony. It was a mixture of Tillith traditions and human ones. They planted a tree and earth oak sapling in the garden. Beneath it, they placed a marker with words in both languages. The cubs wanted to add something. Working together, they carved additional words beneath the official ones. He said it was just a rest. We know now it was goodbye, but he made sure we were safe first. All 347 cubs attended the ceremony. They filled the garden with their presence. Each one laid a flower at the base of the tree. Each one said thank you in their own way. Pix spoke for all of them. Hyunwoo, you saved us, all of us. You gave everything so we could have a future. We will not waste it. We promise Bora helped the cubs adjust to their new life. She answered their questions. She comforted them when they cried. She told them stories about humans, about Earth, about the complicated species that could be both violent and gentle, selfish and selfless. Not all humans are like Hyunwoo, she said honestly, but the best of us try to be. We try to protect those who cannot protect themselves. We try to give others the chances we never had. We fail a lot, but we keep trying. As weeks passed, the cubs began to heal. They made friends with other refugees at the sanctuary. They learned new things. They played in the gardens. They ran under the blue sky. They felt dirt under their feet. And they remembered. They remembered the human who smiled even when dying. Who called death rest so they would not be afraid. Who fought pirates alone. Who gave them everything. Pick decided he would become a pilot when he grew up. I will save people like Hyunwoo saved us, he declared. Neri wanted to learn everything about humans. If we understand them, we can help them understand us, she said. Maybe then there will be more like Hyunwoo. Ben spoke more now, but she was still quiet. She worked in the sanctuary garden, caring for the oak tree. She talked to it sometimes as if Hyunwoo could hear her through the roots and branches. I wish we could have saved you, she would say. But I understand now. You did save us, and we will make sure it mattered. At night, the cubs sometimes gathered in the garden. They looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, 2 ships drifted. The Gentle Dawn and Hyunwoo's small cargo vessel, preserved as monuments. They would float forever, a reminder of what happened, of what one person could do. Do you think he knew? Neri asked one night. That we would be okay? Yes, Pick said. That is why he looked so peaceful. He knew, Fen nodded. She understood now. The peaceful smile, the calm face. It was not because he was sleeping or resting. It was because he had finished what he started. He had kept them safe. He had given them a future, and for Hyunwoo that had been enough. The cubs stayed in the garden until the night grew cold. Then they went inside, to their warm beds in their safe home, living the lives one human thought were worth dying for. And they never forgot.